Hello, everyone. Welcome to this workshop of the Developer Student Club here at Cal State Fullerton. I'm Sam Sandoval, and I'm joined with my tech lead friend, Sager. And today we'll be presenting to you Intro to APIs. So here's a brief overview of the Intro to APIs workshop today. So we'll be going through what is an API, then talking about how to use this API in a web development application, as well as explaining REST and HTTP, and then lastly concluding with a live demo of an API being used in a simple web development project. So we're going to kick things off with what is an API? So what is an API? An API stands for Application Programming Interface, and it's pretty much a set of requirements that govern how one application can talk to another. And there are multiple types of APIs made by different companies, and we'll talk about those later on. So here, let's talk about this. So we have here the client side, which is the browser that you're on, and we want to explain how this works. So let's say you have your computer and you're on your browser, and you're searching something up, such as NBA 2K20, and you could be on games like a GameStop, Best Buy, Amazon, whatever. And when you do that, the server is taking in your inputs from this browser. So the raw G server is doing that. So when you do that, it takes it to the database, searches it there, and then it returns the format of the results in a JSON file. So it replies directly with that. And this is what we call the client and server interaction. Pretty much, it's the interaction between the client and the server, and the client requests something from that made through HTTP. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And then the server returns whatever the results may be. And that kind of is similar how an API works. An API handles the connection between that server as well as with the client to bring access to the data that you want, specifically with the implementation. And APIs are really all about data.
So the way Sam showed you is when you search up something through a server and it actually spits out a nice HTML image for you. So now we're going to show you the dirty version of it. So here we have the raw G server, and now we're going to use that same server, and we're going to look up NBA 2K20 again. And here's everything that's been spit out, but in a different version. This is actually a form called a JSON. So what we have here is that everything is all the same. All this bit of information that you see on an HTML page is all coming from this JSON page. The only thing is that it just looks a lot more disgusting, and the fact is that this is basically how the server will spit out an image, all the information for you for whatever you're searching for. So, and then all that and everything what you see from here will be converted to HTML, and then that's what you'll be seeing on your websites. So now we're going to show you how to use an API, show you websites that have an API, and how do they work. So here we have an example of APIs. Some of them that seem really recognizable, like Twitter, Google Cloud, the Weather Channel, Slack, GitHub, Spotify. So for those of you guys who have an iPhone, I want you all to go on the Weather app and scroll all the way down. You'll see the word the Weather Channel. So the Apple application for the Weather app is actually from the Weather Channel's API. So all the information that you see about what's today's weather, what's tomorrow's weather, is actually from the Weather Channel. If you ever go on the same app store, especially for those who have the Google Play Store, just type down the word weather, and you see a lot of weather apps. A lot of those weather apps will be actually using the same Weather Channel API. It's just that the only difference is that it's just a look. So you can tell that they're all really accessible, and they're actually, a lot of them are free. So in the upcoming demo, we're going to be using an API from Open Weather Map to create our own little mini weather website. So from getting that API from whatever website you choose from, they're going to give you an API key. That API key basically just resembles the server that you are using their API for whatever your purpose is. So for Apple's case, they went onto the Weather Channel API and grabbed their key and created the Weather app. For our case, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're not going to be using the Weather Channel. We'll be using another website called Open Weather Map, basically the exact same stuff. We're going to be using their key to activate our own weather application. And keep in mind, you cannot share this API key. This API key just resembles you. So let's say if you ever screw up, or if someone else is using your key and they screw up on something and break their own protocol, you can actually be banned from their actual application. So do not share your key, and make sure that your key is not ever linked. And once you get that key, normally the keys are free. You can do whatever you want with it. So if you want to create your own weather application, whether it's on a website or on an app or on a mobile version, you can use that key, get all the information on what you want, and basically just create your app from there. And it makes it super easy and accessible.
Yeah, thank you for that explanation, Jager. And now on to explaining HTTP and REST. So HTTP pretty much stands for Hypertext Transfer and Protocol. And it pretty much handles the way data is transferred all over the web. And A protocol pretty much is just a set of rules that determines which messages can be exchanged and which are appropriate with the replies. So it pretty much is very active whenever you're navigating on a site through links and making that state transition, which brings you to the next page. So kind of like we mentioned earlier with the two crucial roles of client and server, it's all using HTTP. And HTTP is text-based with the communication between the systems, which are nothing but an understanding of the protocol. And the client request is trying to get the information from NBA 2K20, and then the server responds, which to HTML Outlook, which is seen through the JSON. And in order for the client and the server to speak with each other, they follow a set of principles called REST, HTTPS, and HTTP methods. So you got those HTTP methods like get, post, put, delete, and yeah. So now on to explaining REST. REST pretty much stands for Representational State Transfer. And as you can see here, it talks about here, it's pretty much saying how the data is presented to the client in the convenient format. And it's pretty much the architecture style of the API, and it relies on the client server protocol. And pretty much the way you can find out if an API can be RESTful is if it separates from the client server, doesn't hold state between the requests, as well as uses the HTTP and HTTPS methods. So REST in a nutshell is pretty much saying, I don't have time to get into the details to create a solution. I just want the solution that's ready for me. So it's kind of similar if you have a scenario where you're trying to do homework and you're trying to Google the answers, and let's say you end up on Chegg and you see the answer and you're like, hey, I want the answer, but I don't really care how much the solution works. And that's kind of the same situation here with REST. We want to get the data, we want to get the solution, we want to see what's coming back and work with the HTTP methods without worrying about too much like how this is working in the back end. So yeah, that's REST in a nutshell. And now I'm going to pass it over to Sigurd to show us the demo. On to the demo.
All right, everyone, let's get started on the project. So first things first, let's get our API key. And to do that, let's go on openweathermap.org. Here, just like the Weather Channel, it basically is just an application that just describes the weather. So if you want to type in your city, for example, let's type in Fullerton, click search, Fullerton, US. And right now in Fullerton, 18 degrees Celsius, which is a metric, imperial, it is currently 64 degrees at night. Cool facts. So from there, let's get our API key. So we're going to go on under API. We're under current weather data, click subscribe. Under free, click get API key. And then from there, you have to create your account. And don't worry, it's not like you don't have to add any form of payment. Basically, the reason why you had to create your own account is just to let them know that you are accessing their API and you're going to use it for your own thing. This basically is just labeling you with your own key. And then afterwards, once you create your account, they're going to send you via email your API key. And that's pretty much it. Now, the second thing we're going to do is get our project. From there, we're going to go on DSC's GitHub, and it'll be under API Workshop. So click on that. And here we have the starter code, the final code, where if anytime you ever feel stuck, you can always go back to and check what you missed out. Here we have all the information for the workshop, how to download the code. For those of you guys using Toughest Mac and Linux to be able to check everything on your browser, we have everything there for you. For Windows, of course, and our Slack and Discord and our website. So in order to download this, you can do it one or two ways. You can download it through our zip, through zip, which, totally optional. You can do that. I would recommend the other way, which is clone or using git clone. So first, copy this, go under your terminal. I've already downloaded this on my end, but this is how it's going to look like. I'm going to download it on, desktop documents. And what you're going to do is git clone, and then you're going to put the URL, and then it'll clone, and everything will be there for you. That's it. That's pretty much it. I already have it downloaded, but that's just an example, and you'll get everything here. Here's the starter code, the final licensing, and README. All right, so after getting your API key and getting the Git repository downloaded onto your computer, let's start the project. So first things first, here's what we have. Under our starter code, we'll have style.css, looks like this. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, so that's how we style our website, how to make it look like. Our script.js, which is something we're going to be filling this out throughout the workshop, basically the functionality. And index.html. HTML is all the text that we shown on the website, which HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. So any site you go on to see all the text, that's your HTML. And we have the weather API folder, which basically is the end result. So throughout the workshop, if you ever see any errors and you want to compare back to either to the video or to the other code that I provided for you, you may check. For those who are on Mac, Linux, or Toughix, as mentioned before, you'll have to use the command browser sync. We already included the commands and everything else on our GitHub. So to check your work, all you have to do is go on your API workshop, go under starter code, and where it says index, it will show you the default browser. For those who are on Linux, Toughix, and Macs, you'll have to use browser sync. But while you're using browser sync, it'll automatically open the browser for you, and you don't have to keep changing it. All you have to do is any changes you made to your code, go to your browser and just press refresh. For those that are Windows, just go on index, open up your default browser. In my case, I'm going to use Firefox. And this is how it looks like for now. So what we're going to do is we're going to have it be able to we're going to have a prompt. It's going to have you enter a city. And from there, it's going to show you the temperature. It's going to show you the icon. The icon's going to show you basically what it is. It's either sunny, cloudy, hazy, etc. And then we're going to show you the temperature degrees in Fahrenheit. And that's pretty much it, I believe. So here how it looks like right now. So for the end game of this website, I know it looks kind of like it doesn't look super stylish, but for now we're just going to show you how API works. And at the end of the workshop, you can actually make this your own. You can style it however you like it. You can do whatever you want to it. For our case, just for today, we're going to show you the icon. The icon basically is going to show you sunny, cloudy, hazy, provided from open weather map. We're going to show you the temperature, obviously. And we're going to show you the description. And that description will be either it will say like clear skies or heavy rain, et cetera, et cetera. All right, let's get started. So let's go to our JS file. And here we already have for our city. I already created a variable called city, and that's how we're going to enter what city you want to look for. Normally we use a search engine. Today I'm going to use a prompt, and then for anyone that wants to edit this and create their own with this, you have be my guest. Do whatever you like. Okay. First, let's get the activation through our API. So first thing we do, $get JSON. We mentioned before that any information from an API we print it in a JSON format. So let's get this going. When you guys got your API key, it'll be sent. You guys are sent through email. You'll be given 2 links. So one of them will be actually giving you how to activate that JSON. So I have that copied. I'm going to copy it now. Let me include this. And here we go. So that should have been given to you in your email. Basically, this is how you will search a city. Plus city plus. And from here, first we're going to include the units, basically Fahrenheit. So it'll be ampersand units is equal to imperial. And if you want to change it, you can change it to metric. Ampersand app ID. That'll be your API key. So I'm going to enter mine. Of course, do not copy any other people's API key. Of course, if anything ever happens to the other person, if you ever access information that it wasn't supposed to access, that'll be on the other person, not yourself. So please, as mentioned, do not use other people's API keys. Comma. Oops, sorry. Let's do a function data. And this is where we're going to access all the data from. Always end anytime in JavaScript, always end it with a semicolon. And yeah, here it is so far. This is how you can activate it through a JSON. So let me show you something real quick on how a JSON looks like. So we're going to copy all this. Gonna Control-C. I'm going to go on Firefox real quick. Open a tab. So let me show you how the JSON looks like. So we're going to copy all that. Replace this part with your city. So let's put Anaheim. Enter. And here's how the JSON looks like. So we're provided coordinates, weather, the temperature itself, wind speeds, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to take that information and show that in our web page. So first things first, let's create some variables. So let's start with console log. So this is just going to display the information data because we named the AR function, we named this data. All right, let's do this. We have this all listed over here, I believe. Yep, icon, weather, temperature. So let's get the icon first. So first things first, create a variable icon. Now we were provided a link on the Open Weather Map document page. To find that, all you had to do is where you were able to click subscribe for current weather data, you go on their documentation and they provide you all the links on how to activate and get these information. So all you do is do this. And this is the actual information we provided to access the data for the icon, to get the icons. And then from there, let's double check on our JSON, whether this is how you read a JSON, to where you're gonna get the icon. It'll be under weather, the array 0 icon. So we're gonna go to data, which is what we are gonna access, dot weather, array 0, dot icon. Plus, and then all their icons are saved as PNGs, just for the sake of the future whenever you want to access that extra information. So that's how you get the icon. Now let's get the temperature. Var temp. That'll be provided through, let's check. Temperature is main temperature. Okay. So we're going to do data dot weather. Actually, I'm sorry, data dot main dot temp. Now it's going to print out, if we're going to use Anaheim, for example, it's going to print out 62.89. Normally, you don't see that in weather applications to give you a decimal point. So we're going to do something to provide basically a rounded number. So in JavaScript, there's two ways to do it. It is the math function dot floor. Math.floor basically rounds the number down. So for example, 62.89, I believe that's what it said earlier, it'll bring it down to 62. If you do math.ceil or ceiling, it'll bring it up to 63. It'll round it up. So either way, depending on how you want it, I'm going to do floor because normally weather applications use floor, but you can use ceil if you like. A lot of us also there's other web applications that would also use ceil as well. Okay, cool. Now let's get the weather. That is just a description. So let's go under here. Okay, so here it is, weather, the 0 array, description or main. I'm going to use main. So that'll be equal to data dot weather, the 0 array, so bracket 0 dot main. Then that's it. That's all we're going to need to provide here. And now let's display that information onto the HTML. So $sign dot icon. Now you're asking, what does this come from exactly? Well, under the HTML, I created these classes. The image class icon, the image class for the paragraph for weather, and the paragraph for temperature. P stands for paragraph, M stands for image. So in order to display the image, we have to do the following. We're going to use the We're going to use the attribute source src icon. So attribute method is basically returns attributes and values from the selected element. So through the JSON, it's going to show you the selected icon that was provided earlier, and it'll be printed under the demo paragraph, which is basically it's going to be shown on screen. Now we're going to show the weather. Sorry. So dot weather, and then we're going to use the append. Append basically it's inserting content. It's basically taking the content from basically similar to attribute. It's just taking the content, inserting to the selected element, So append weather from the variable weather. And then we're going to do $. The last one is temperature, right? Yep. I did that out of order. It's okay. Dot temp is equal to, I'm sorry, dot append, same thing as last one, temp plus, and now we have to show the degree sign and Fahrenheit. So I don't have this memorized, but I do have it written down. That'll be /x the 0. That basically would show you the degree symbol. And then from there, it'll be F for Fahrenheit. Okay. Now that's all taken care of. Let's do this. If city does not equal null. Null means nothing, so basically we don't insert anything. What the heck? Okay. Document dot get element by ID, basically getting all the element that I provided from above. Demo is from the index.html, paragraph.id. Dot inner HTML. Dot inner HTML means that you can put HTML text from JavaScript. Equals to today in plus city plus dot period, I'm sorry, it is, and then colon, let's end it. All right, so now let's check it. File, save all. Let's go to here, API. Let's type in Chicago. Today in Chicago, it is 67 degrees Fahrenheit, cloudy. And that's how it basically works. So from this, we show you how to read the JSON. Of course, if you want to know where you have, if for some reason, if you're lost for how I got this portion right here, or this right here, go on to this. Basically, open weather map. And where you are able to find the current data, open current data, right? No, current weather data, I'm sorry, API doc. And it'll provide you all the information on how to be able to access certain things. And these are called API calls. So you can do state code, you can do city names, you can do country code if you like. And that's basically how you access all the information. And of course, from this JSON, you can do whatever you want. So let's say let's say we want to include wind. So let's include wind, why not? First, include that under here. So let's create a paragraph tag, class is equal to wind. And then closing paragraph tag that usually does on its own script. So first we had to create the variable. So let's include wind. So for that, we'll do var wind is equal to, let's do the ceiling method, map.ceil. So basically it rounds up the number again. And let's check on the JSON. Wind is under wind speed. So wind, data.wind.speed. And of course it showed 3.94. Let me double check on that one. 3.94, so it should round up to 4. Okay, now to get that call, wind, it'll be that wind append wind plus, and then we want to put miles per hour. miles per hour, there you go. So if we do that, save all, go back over here, refresh, let's put Fullerton. Actually, let's do Anaheim because we know what the wind is for that. There you go. Today in Anaheim, it is 62 degrees Fahrenheit, wind 4 miles per hour. Let's actually make that more prettier. And then we'll do this. Wind speed, that'll be plus wind. Okay, so let's make that more prettier. Save all. Let's enter Hong Kong. So here it says in Hong Kong, oh, it's raining today. So in Hong Kong, it is 86 degrees. It is raining with wind speed of 9 miles per hour. Again, if you want to recheck this, let's do another city. Let's say Dubai. And Dubai, wow, it's hot. Today in Dubai, it's 109 degrees Fahrenheit with a wind speed of 5 miles per hour. So you can see it works perfectly. And of course, you can include any other information you want. You can include latitude, longitude. You can include what the temperature should feel like, what it actually feels like, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, I know the project doesn't look super great, but it basically shows you all the information that it's basically showing you how API works, how we're able to display all the information. So on Open Weather Map and see how all this information was able to be displayed. Here, they actually include a map. Here's the degrees. Here's the weather in Fullerton. It's miles per hour wind from a certain direction. You can actually include direction if you like. Humidity, all the graph information. That's all from the APIs. And of course, the possibility endless. So that's how API works. And of course, you can use any other form of API you want. It doesn't have to be weather. For any application you want to create, let's say you want to do one for sports that keeps track of sports analysis, you can easily find one on rapidapi.org. I believe it's .org or .com. Don't quote me on that. But they contain it's basically a large API library. So you can access anything. So for movies, to video games, to sports, to coronavirus. If you guys ever seen Discord bots that are tracking coronavirus, they're using their APIs. There's lots to choose from. And of course, for any of you guys that follow along with the directions or followed me along for this and and basically recreated what we showed right here, try to update it, try to style it to how you want. Maybe you want to grab the 7-day forecast API and show all the forecasts of what Dubai is going to be having for the next 7 days. And that's basically how API works. Thank you for everyone who followed along. Of course, check out our GitHub for if you ever want to go back and check and see what's anything that you missed or if you had any errors. Contact us on Discord and we'll try to help you out for anything you need. And yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
So yeah, that concludes this workshop. If you have any questions, feel free to send them to the Discord chat. And yeah, we're going to have more of these workshops coming up. We hope you learned a lot from this one. And if you like to stay connected and stay posted, follow our Instagram and connect with our Discord and visit our website, which is right there on the slide. So yeah, see you at the next one.